All right, we got a hill coming at 3K in, y'all. Starts. Here we go.
What is up, y'all? Jonathan Crane here with another ZRL race breakdown. This is the park perimeter loop. About a 10K lap. We've got one sprint per lap. We're doing the whole thing 4 times. And in this video, I really want to drill down on those sprints. Now, this is coming off the heels of my worst ever ZRL performance. If you haven't watched that one, go back and give it a watch. I broke it down, but basically what happened was I got dropped right after a sprint. It wasn't because I didn't have the gas for the sprint. I actually did get into the points on the sprint, had a really good kick for that. I misread the dynamics of the game a little bit, and I didn't leave quite enough in the tank to kick one more time when I needed it. So basically, I went from the back of the group, flying through the group up toward the front, and then really let off the power afterwards. And I was trying to get a little bit of recovery as the group caught me, and they just flew past me. They were sort of all blobbed up. I was not a part of that blob, and they got away from me really quick and just ended my day. On the most recent Pack Dynamics, that's Pack Dynamics 3.0 on Zwift, everything is a little bit more slippery than it used to be. And I'll get into what I mean by that a little bit later in this video, but I wanted to try and use that to my advantage in this race, where it's the thing that got me dropped in the last race.
All right, hill starts right here at 7.
This is a really interesting sprint because you come into this section with so much speed, and then see that little fork in the road on the mini map up there. I had marked that as kind of the crucial spot on some other people's streams where you got to start going hard from there. So you can see I stand up, start ramping it up. I don't go straight to full sprint mode because we're not even technically in the sprint segment right now, but this hill kicks up to 6% here, pretty steep for a second, and that's really where you got to make the separation if you want to be in the conversation for points. But then right here, that's actually the start of the sprint segment at that green banner. Tilts back down and we're going so fast, I hit the super tuck, got a little too cute with it there and got popped at the line.
Points.
Did manage to hold on to 10th there, but no time to celebrate. We got to apply what we learned in that last video, which is, okay, we're at this point right after the sprint, a gap is forming. This was the point last time where I tried to back off the power, stay at, 200 watts, get a little recovery and sit back. I had to do this stand up to match everyone's speed, especially on this course where all of these splits, it's so rolling on this course that any split could be the split. So I just had to recognize that. And look, now I'm back in the group. I'm doing 135. I'm good to go. So we learned a lot on that one. Maybe went a little too hard on the super tuck. Maybe started a little too far forward in the group. But I did figure out exactly how to time that one, where to start ramping it up, how soon to ramp it up. And I'm going to start figuring that out as we go on here. Try to keep getting these points and continue to stay in the group at that crucial moment.
Here comes the hill.
Same spot, next lap. I'm going to modify my approach a little bit here. I'm still going to start cranking it up in the same spot, but I'm going to allow myself to drift back in the group a little farther. I'm not going to hit my peak power quite as early because I want to time it for the actual sprint segment. There are fastest through segment points here. So I hit my aero boost and go full gas right here so that I'm at full speed when I crest the hill past that green marker right there. Now I'm in the actual sprint segment that counts for fastest through segment points, and I don't hit my super tuck until I'm basically at the line. So I just kind of moved the timing of everything, just kind of stretched it out a little bit there. But also notice I'm not having to sprint to get back on here. I'm in the group. I'm stuck in right at the front actually, and just timing everything a little bit better that time. Oh, you can see Charles we met right there, other YouTube guy. He has a bunch of reviews of like wind space, carbon stuff, Chinese stuff on YouTube. Didn't even know he was a Zwift guy, but it makes sense, I guess, since he's Canadian. So I did manage to knock down some points there, both first across the line and fastest through segment points. And imagine if these leaderboards were actually just coming up in game right now rather than me having to go to a separate website, snip them, and then edit them into my video later. Imagine if this was just built in and you could see who had gotten points in the moment. But I digress.
All right, here's a sprint.
Getting back to the Pack Dynamics 3.0 thing, this is the one where I really start using it to my advantage. I start from the back of the group and then I get myself unstuck here right before it really kicks up. What I mean by unstuck is I put down a little bit harder of an effort than everyone else on the flat section right as it starts to kick up to build my momentum, and then it really doesn't take that much for me to slide all the way through the group up into this front group that's really up to speed, hit my aero boost at the right time, and then I can super tuck a little bit earlier on this one, but again, because of my timing and because of the momentum I built up sliding through the group, I was able to get some solid points using the super tuck, using less energy than I did on that first lap. So my takeaway about Pack Dynamics 3.0, how it worked against me in the previous video and for me in this video, it all comes down to inertia. In the previous race, the group had a lot more inertia than me. They came from behind me, all kind of blobbed up together with a lot of speed that I didn't have. I needed to do a big effort to build up that inertia, get in the draft, and then get rolling along with them. On the sprint we just watched, I was able to use inertia by coming from the back of the group and then sort of building my speed up while I still had a lot of people to draft off of. Now, I broke myself free in the sense that I was slipping through the group, but you are still going draft to draft as you're moving through that group. So using the downhill high speed we came off of and basically just maintaining that speed we had off the downhill as we hit the uphill there was what allowed me to move through the group. And then by the time I needed to commit to my full sprint effort, I was kind of already at speed, already matching speed with the fastest people in the group. Last time through the sprint, and this is a little bit of an interesting one, we've got, if you look at the mini map up there, you can see there's a group with a small gap off the front, and we Restart actually have representation up there. Pierrick Menard, sorry if my Canadian name pronunciation is not great, is up there driving it. He started that breakaway, and spoiler alert, he ended up winning from that breakaway. So I don't want to be pulling him back, but we also, there's only 6 or 7 in that breakaway, so there are points on the line. So I waited pretty late to get up here, and then even once I got some separation, I'm literally not pedaling to bring him back right here. I am just hanging out in the super tuck. Still got those last few points coming through here. But this was a moment, I maybe made a mistake here. I should have used the Ghost, gone full gas with the Ghost across this gap. That's kind of the only use of the Ghost. I do think the Ghost should be twice as long as it is. You barely have a chance to get up ahead of steam before the Ghost goes away and then you're visible again. I would have been like halfway across that gap. But, you know, I just gave you the spoiler alert. The group up there does win, and Pierrick from our team from Restart takes the win overall. So that is kind of it for us. I'm just sitting back in this group trying to get a decent finishing position, which I do. I probably could have timed this final sprint a little bit better and grabbed a couple more positions, but I was really all in on those intermediate sprints, both mentally and physically. And then my only goal at the end was just not to get dropped. So mission accomplished there. I mean, these ZRL races are always super, super hard. And after getting fully dropped in one and only getting one intermediate point, to grab some points at every intermediate, both first across the line and fastest through the segment, and then to still be 15th across the line at the end, I will take this one, especially as I'm racing my way back into form for the road season, which kicks up next week. Next Saturday is my first IRL road race of 2022. Be a little bit of a training race, still working on getting the engine up to snuff, but I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting back out there on the road and giving it a go. Hopefully I'll have some content from that stuff coming up, as well as the Zwift stuff that I'm going to continue using the Zwift to train for the outdoors and sort of talk about the interplay between the two. So if you want to see that content, it is coming up here. And if you want to see more of me dry heaving at the end of these races, also go ahead and subscribe. Keep it locked. I appreciate everybody watching. Thanks for hanging out.